Hi and welcome. In this video, I will discuss an important concept with regards to the security operations of information system, and this concept is the backup operation. Now, in order to provide continued services to user, a system or data should be able to sustain faults. And in case of a fault, we provide this backup mechanism to provide redundancy to the system so that system should be able to recover in a reliable fashion. Now this magnetic tape is the most common type of backup media we use to backup our system. Now there are three types of backup, that is the full backup, incremental backup and differential backup. And this archive bit is an important concept with regards to backup operations, and this archive bit is actually a file attribute which is used mostly on Windows operating system, Windows file system, for example NT file system or NTFS. So this archive bit has two values, that is 1 or 0. So once a file is modified, then this archive bit is set to 1. It means that this file has been modified and it needs to be collected by or archived by your backup solution. But if the archive bit is value is 0, it means that this particular file is not modified since last backup. So it does not need to be collected by your backup solution. Now this full backup is the most simpler form of backup because it creates the exact replica of your all data files, and the backup operation for full backup requires more time, and also the storage media is also required more, and therefore there is a more cost associated with backup operation of full backup. There is another aspect, that is the window for backup operation requires to be large enough to sustain full backup operation. The advantages of full backup are that the recovery operation in case of a fault requires less time and also the less effort because you have to recover from single source of backup. Therefore, we use this hybrid approach where we use this full backup in combination with the incremental and differential backup, which I will discuss in later part of this video. So once a file is collected by full backup or is archived by full backup, then the file attribute value is set to 0 if its value is 1. It means that now the file is archived and it does not need to be collected or to be archived anymore. But later on, if the archive, if this file again modified, then this archive bit again set to 1. But for the time being, the full backup set the archive bit of all the files on your system to 0. Now this incremental backup is used in combination with the full backup. So for example, you are taking the full backup of all the data files on your system irrespective of their archive bit value on a weekly basis, that is on Sunday, and then on any other day of the week you are daily taking this incremental backup. So this incremental backup will backup all the files since last which are modified since last backup of any type. So actually in a week you are taking one full backup and 6 incremental backups every day. So the backup operation is easy because you have to take the backup of the files since last 24 hours, because incremental backup has occurred last 24 hours, and this incremental backup only backs up files which are modified since last backup of any type, including the incremental backup or the last incremental backup. But the recovery operation is very difficult because you have to recover your system in case of a fault from multiple incremental backups and also the full backup. So for example, if a fault occurs on Friday, then you have to back up the system, or you have to recover the system actually from the last Sunday full backup and then the multiple incremental backup of each day until this Friday incident. Moreover, if long time has passed since you took the full backup, the last full backup. For example, if you are taking the full backup on monthly basis, and on each other day of the month for 30 days you are taking 30 incremental backups, then this recovery operation becomes very difficult, because there are multiple sources of incremental backup from where you have to recover your system from. So there may be multiple single points of failure, because in case of any single incremental backup file getting faulty, then the entire recovery operation gets compromised. After taking or backing up the file during incremental backup, you set the archive bit or the modification status of the file to 0. It means that it does not need to be collected by the next day incremental backup. Now this differential backup actually is also used in combination with the full backup. For example, you are using the full backup on Sunday, then on each other day of the week you are taking each day differential backup. But this time the differential backup will back up more files, because it will back up all the files which are modified since last full backup. How it is taking the differential, we are taking the differential backup, or we take the differential backup each day, but this differential backup will back up all the files, and also will only consider the full backup files, or the file which are modified since full backup, and it will not consider the last differential backup of last day or of last 24 hours. In incremental backup does consider the last incremental backup, and it does not take the backup of the files which are backed up already by the last incremental backup. But in differential backup will disregard the last differential backup, and it will only consider the last full backups. Therefore it will back up all the files which are modified since last full backup. So therefore there is more data involved while taking the differential backup. So the recovery operation is less complex than the incremental backup, but more complex than full backup, because you are taking actually the two sources of data, that is the last full backup and last differential backup. So in a way you can say that the last differential backup is equivalent to all incremental backups since last full backup. Again, if a long time has passed since the last full backup, then differential backup becomes equivalent to the full backup, or nearly equivalent to the full backup. For example, if you are taking the full backup on monthly basis, then and daily you are taking the differential backup, then on 29th day of the month the differential backup will become equivalent to the full backup, or nearly equivalent to the full backup, because you are taking the backup of all the files which are modified since last full backup, that is of 29th last 29 days. And how differential backup actually works on technical level. After taking the differential backup does not change the archive bit, so it keeps the archive bit set to 1. It means that the file which is modified since last full backup, its value remains to 1, and it remains available for next day differential backup to be backed up. Therefore a lot of files therefore the last differential backup disregard the last differential backup of 24 or of last 24 hours, because the last differential backup does not change the archive bit. So this was all from my side. Please stay connected to my channel for similar videos. Thank you.